So today I have a wonderful fourth year student, Sara Harvey, who has agreed to answer some questions. So I'll turn it over to you, Sara. All right. Well, first of all, what made you choose Carleton and the history department in particular?
So that's a great question. The main reason that I chose Carleton was the really good feeling I got when I came for my campus tour. I know that is not a possibility right now, but I hear good things about the virtual tours, so I would recommend everyone checking that out. It was just really nice to be able to see how close and how well organized the campus is. And then as well, I feel that everything going on with COVID right now, I know this is very cliche, but it still feels like a really good community to me, even though a lot of my classmates are spread all over the country and even all over the world. I still feel like I have a really strong connection and a really good sense of place here. Specifically the history program I chose because of the great opportunities that they offer. There is the co-op program as well as the practicum program. And I know that this is offered a lot in other degrees and different faculties. So I was actually a practicum student last semester. I worked with Ingenium, which is the company that does the Science and Tech, Air and Space, and Agriculture Museum. So I was able to get a really good work opportunity there. And I have a couple friends who are doing the co-op program and they're still in it right now and they love it. And I think it's great, a great opportunity just to get some hands-on experience as well as learning stuff in school.
Well, terrific. Thank you. And let me just say for people who are listening that the co-op program allows you to do 3 terms of paid work during your degree. And as Sara was saying, we really take advantage of being in the nation's capital, and we place students with all kinds of government agencies, museums, archives. So that's something that we're very proud of. Having started recently. Now, speaking of being proud, I know you've done a lot of things at Carleton and you've overcome some challenges. And what would you say your proudest moment has been as a student at Carleton?
So I actually have 2. The first one was my practicum placement. I think it was just astounding to me that I was able to do something. So my career aspiration is to work in a museum or in public history of some sort. So being able to have that placement and just kind of see what hopefully my future career is going to look like was very exciting. And I was actually able to do some research for them and publish a blog post on their the Ingenium channel. So I was forwarding that email to all of my friends and family and look at what I did. It's not just writing papers in a history degree. I can do all this. And it's very cool just to see something that other people are going to see. My second proudest moment was one of the classes I took in my second year. It was a public history course, and we partnered with the National Capital Commission, or the NCC, for their 120th anniversary. So myself and my classmates, we were split up into different groups, and we all had to tackle sort of 2 mini research projects. We looked up local stories about downtown and local Ottawa, and then we presented 2 to the NCC, and then they chose 1, and we actually got them put on electrical boxes. So it's sort of just a raft. There's pictures and stuff. They're all along Confederation Boulevard downtown. So if you have a chance to take a look, it's called Capital History. You can just Google that, and there's all the great work that me and my classmates did. And then when I got to see the electrical box in person, it was just so cool to see that something that I had worked on was actually something that people were going to walk past, and maybe not everyone's going to read it, but they're going to see it. And that's just really cool for me.
Wow, that's fantastic. You know, I was on sabbatical last year, so I didn't know the story behind the electrical boxes. So I'm really glad to have learned that. And I think it's terrific that you were able to publish already on the Ingenium site. I had an MA student who did that, and that's just such a terrific thing. And certainly, you know, we're always looking at Carleton for opportunities to allow students to do their own independent research and writing and get it recognized as you did. So I'm really happy to hear that. Now I know you're in your 4th year. You've taken a lot of courses. What would you say your favorite course has been, and why?
Well, I've had a lot of favorite courses, but the one that I always answer is my first year seminar. So I took the history seminar, the first year seminar, Victorian London, with Dr. Danielle Kinsey, and it was so much fun. I would definitely recommend taking a first-year seminar if you do choose to come to Carleton. It's just a great way to it's a good transition from high school to university, in my opinion. It was a lot smaller than a lot of my other like huge like intro lectures. So I think there were about like maybe 20-ish people in the class. It was more familiar to me, more of like a high school class. And it allowed me to become more comfortable with like the university setting and with talking to professors, like meeting new people, doing like university projects. And one of the projects that she made us do was like a library assignment and a research assignment. So it was just sort of like getting the basics. Like we had to actually go to the library, find a physical book, like learn how to cite the book and everything. And that has made me a lot more comfortable using both online and in-person resources, which is something that you do a lot with a history degree and at university, just doing research in general. But yeah, it was a great class and I would definitely recommend it.
Well, that's terrific. Yeah, we at Carleton in the Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences were very proud when we introduced the first year seminars, because they intend to do just what you said, to give students the skills to succeed not only in their history courses but also in their other courses. And I've certainly heard a lot of compliments about that particular course, and so I'm glad to hear that. All right, and you've talked a little bit about the skills that you developed in this first year seminar. What do you think, it's sort of looking generally over your 4 years at Carleton, and I know we have a little pandemic hold for the moment, but what do you think the skills that you have developed are? What are the most important ones, do you think?
So the first one I'd have to say is definitely research. That's probably a given. I have had to do a lot of research for papers, assignments, but like I said, with my first year seminar, doing all this research has made me a lot more comfortable with the different databases and resources that I have at my disposal. So when I was able to go to the library or like the archives, I felt pretty comfortable using those and like accessing them and figuring out how to find like books and materials on my own, as well as like meeting with research assistants and like archivists and seeing like what they could help me with. I've also been able to work a lot on my communication skills. So with everything being online now, it is a very different environment. It is sad that I'm not able to like meet with my professors and meet with all of you face to face, but it is very interesting just to see and like be adaptable, because I don't know what my future career is going to bring. I might have to do a lot of Zoom calls, I'm not sure. But it's also definitely been super helpful with like learning to talk with like professors and people in different professions, as well as students. So a lot of the students in my history classes are either like history majors, obviously, or a lot of the like first year and like intro classes are open to all majors, which is great because I think it's a great way for you to meet other people who might have like a minor in history or just like a general interest. But it's definitely nice to be able to meet new people and listen to like their like backgrounds and why they chose to take the course, and then just like make a lot of friends. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, you've said lots of terrific things, and I'm glad to hear that, because certainly, the ability to do research is one of the things that we really emphasize in our courses, as is developing students' skills at communication. And I was interested by your comment about the technological world, because it reminds me of a career night we did once, and we had an archivist from Library and Archives Canada who had gone to the Carleton History Department, and he was saying that he felt that what history students could offer nowadays was the combination of the ability to do research, but knowledge of the digital and online world. So, and that, you're positioned as a generation, and and certainly there are courses at Carleton that draw on those skills and try to develop digital skills. We have courses in digital history, digital archaeology. There's a larger program in digital humanities, so that's great. Okay, where you've been here with us for 4 years, where do you hope your degree takes you? We heard that Claire has plans to go to graduate school. What are you thinking about at this point?
That is a very good question, something I am still trying to gather information and think about. I think my two options are either, so like I said, I wanted to work in a museum or in some sort of public history capacity. I've been looking a lot at like museum studies programs, both in colleges and as master's programs. Carleton, I know, does have a really good public history program. So I've been looking at that. And then I've also been looking at the like applied museum studies programs at Algonquin and Fleming, as well as lots of others, but those are the ones I'm mainly focusing on. And yeah, to prepare, I'm just trying to do as much research as I can on the programs and and like what like they can offer me and like the transferable skills I'll be able to get from them. I've also been reaching out to professors as well as like people in different professions on like LinkedIn and through like referrals and references, and just kind of asking them if they have time for like a 20-30 minute like Zoom call, just so I can ask them some questions about like how they got there, like what degrees they did, like how they got from their like history degree to where they are today. And I'm also taking a part in the Alumni Mentors program that Carleton offers, which is another great resource we have. I have not met with my mentor yet, but fingers crossed, I think we're going to meet in the next couple weeks. So he did his Bachelor of Honors in History, like I'm doing right now, but he works at the Office of the Vice President, and he's like the communications director. So that's something that I have never even thought of. So I think it'll just be interesting to see like how he got from history to communications, and if that's something that would interest me, or if there's like any skills he could recommend. So yeah, even if I don't end up taking the communications route, I'm still super excited to meet with someone who graduated in the same program I did and to see what options are available for me.
Yeah, well, that sounds terrific. And certainly the Alumni Mentor Program offers, graduates, recent graduates, a lot of opportunities to link up with people who have done things that, as you say, you might not even know you wanted to do, or things that you might not even think were possible. I just wanted to pick up on one thing you talked about, potentially being interested in museum studies, and I wanted to let our listeners know that starting next year we are going to have a new concentration in public history at the undergraduate level. It's long been a strength of Carleton at the graduate level, and now we're giving students an opportunity at the undergraduate level to study this. And we already have a range of courses on museums, on digital history, digital archaeology, but we're going to allow students to really focus on that and get an important credential and use it as a stepping stone into a range of jobs or maybe further studies. So I'm really interested to hear that. And do you have a sense of, and Professor Salmon asked Claire, do you have a sense of what some of your other classmates might be thinking of?
Yeah, I was actually talking with one of my classmates about this a couple days ago. So she's specifically doing her master's in library and information studies, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of my other friends are thinking of going to like teachers college. I have the one friend who's in co-op who I mentioned before. She is working, her next placement is going to be at Indigenous Affairs Canada, and that's been one of her like dream jobs. So I think she's going to go more like the government route. But yeah, like there are so many things to think about. There's so many different career options. Like just because you go into history, you don't like just have to be a researcher or just have to be a teacher. There's still so many things that even I definitely don't even know about that could be options for me. So yeah, it's kind of all over the board, but I think that's definitely a good thing.
Well, that's terrific. And I'll just pick up on a couple of the things you said, because you talked about your friend who's doing co-op placement. And certainly one of my jobs is to read their reports from their placements. And I know that a lot of students, even in the, they had to sort of shuffle their placements a bit with the pandemic, but people are hoping to stay on and be bridged into very good government jobs after their co-op. So I think that is a real option that people should keep in mind. Well, that sounds terrific. Oh, and one more thing I wanted to say was that you've highlighted so nicely one of the points I'm going to make tomorrow in the presentation, which is that a degree in history sets you up to do all kinds of things, and that very few history graduates actually become historians like I am. I have 3 degrees in history, but most history graduates go on maybe to library and information studies, to work in a library, to teach, to be a lawyer, to work in a museum, Interestingly enough, one of our graduates from the 1980s is now Prime Minister Trudeau's national security advisor. So history majors go on to do all kinds of things, and I know that you are going to do something very interesting, and it was a real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you, Sara.
Thank you.